Thank you, Ms. McGill. We have two speakers here to also speak about the new county logo. Harvey Boyd. Is Harvey Boyd here? Yeah. And Juan Whipple. If you all could both, are you all here together or are you speaking separately? Do you want to speak together or? You can each get 3 minutes even if you speak together. Welcome.
Good evening.
Mr. Boyd, welcome.
Good evening. My pleasure to be here. Seems like I've been getting an awful lot of calls lately and emails and things saying, you need to go down there and talk. And so I'm here to speak about, I suppose, a little slight confusion on what has taken place, I think, a couple of meetings ago when people are believing that we're in the process of changing the county seal. I'm like Mr. Puckett, and I was very delighted to hear him say he didn't like it. But I'm also aware that progress and things do move forward. And I designed this seal almost 40 years ago. Wow, time flies. That is amazing for me to be standing here talking about something I did 40 years ago, or even having people remember that I did something 40 years ago, and it was not bad. So it's really an honor to have that kind of experience in my life. I've traveled many places. I've seen many different seals, and for some reason, I've always liked this county seal, not only because I did it, but because it tells our history. It tells the history for everybody. It just gives our history. I grew up here. I grew up in a small community called Crestdale in Matthews. I hitchhiked every day to go to West Charlotte. I finished West Charlotte because at that time all the schools were not open to people of color. So I had to choose between either Second Ward or West Charlotte, and I chose Second Ward, West Charlotte, simply because it had an art department there. So it's very important for people to know not only my history, but the history of the seal. The history, it describes our country, really. If you analyze it, it talks about all of the struggles we've been through, both all nationalities. It talks about our modern, the things that are happening today. It also even brings in our past. And for some people, they say that this is a full circle. That is what makes it, I think, a classic. So before you make a change, I'd like to offer my service. If there's some way that I could work with you to modify it in some way, or to consolidate the concepts that I saw, and there were 30 different seals there, I would be totally confused. I had no idea that we had that many things representing Mecklenburg County, because when I designed it, and I do have that proclamation, it stated specifically that this particular seal was to be placed on everything that dealt with Mecklenburg County. It did not. There were no, of course, there were no computers at that time either. So this is where all of these things are coming from. But I do feel that if you are about to make changes, that I could act as a consultant in some way to bring about a more harmonious change for the seal. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope I'm around another 40 years.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd, for your creativity and your words. And Mr. Whipple, welcome.
Well, most of what I was going to say has already been said. So, I'm not trying to repeat things, but echo what Mr. Boyd said about the seal and the history of our county. I am a tour director here in the city of Charlotte, and I've been directing tours here for 14 years now. I've been a resident of the city of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County for 21 years. And it was during the course of what I do that I came across the history of the county and realized how important it was, not only to Mecklenburg County, but the nation as a whole, particularly concerning the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence and the story of the Hornet's Nest, which was loosely captured in a movie starring Mel Gibson. Most of you have probably seen The Patriot, leading up to the area being called a hornet's nest of rebellion. So these are the things that make it interesting for me when I'm conducting and directing and developing tours of this county. The history is rich here, and we've given a tour for over 80,000 guests, newcomers, visitors, and also residents over the past 14 years. And I'd say 99% of the folks are fascinated with the history here, particularly dating back to the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and keeping that seal intact or using it to consolidate the other logos that are around is a bright idea. It's a good idea. I have a degree in business. I do a little bit of marketing myself, and you do want to have one logo or a few representing what you are, and which it says a lot about who you are. So I agree that those logos need to be consolidated, but why not use the person that designed the first seal, that was given the blessing of the county commissioners, your forefathers. Don't know if we had any women on the county commissioner back in 1964, but that was a wise decision that they made. So please incorporate that into your consolidation of the new logos. And thank you for having me out.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Whipple. I'm going to respond. Usually we don't have responses to our public appearance, but since we have heard so many comments and gotten so many emails, I know that I have, about the county seal, I just wanted to briefly respond that the manager's office has assured us there is no proposal to do away with the seal, that we will continue to recognize and honor the seal and its significance. Regardless of what happens with the communications and marketing logo, the seal will remain the official Mecklenburg County seal. In response to our discussion at our last meeting about the new marketing logo, there are two options under consideration right now by the county manager. One is to maintain the seal and to also use it as the communications and marketing logo. The second item to be considered is to maintain the seal but have a separate communications and marketing logo. And those two options and the separate logo are currently being discussed among a number of focus groups. So I wanted to let everyone know that your voices have been heard, and it's nice to see that there's so much emotional and personal attachment to something like a county seal, which it's amazing. It was designed 40 years ago and still represents what we are today. And Manager Jones.
Madam Chairman, thank you. Mr. Boyd's comments, I'm thankful that he came down tonight, and I would like to spend some time talking to you, Mr. Boyd, and take you up on your offer to at least begin looking at the seal and ways that we might be able to go forward. I too express the same concern that you have, just given the number of logos that have cropped up throughout the organization, that somehow we need to determine what is going to be the symbol of the county, and I'd like to sit down and talk to you about that. Thank you for coming.
Terrific. That's what I call responsive government.